Tell me something good.
I just woke up.
Okay. All right.
Got
Hey,
some nice
you're alive.
sleep.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
that'll work. Rest is a good thing.
Yeah, it's been
First
crazy.
of all, Zeta, thank you so much for taking some time out of your busy schedule to be here and have a conversation with me. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. My pleasure. Born in Virginia, did you spend a significant portion of your early life in Virginia? Where about in Virginia were you born? How long were you there?
I was born in Charlottesville, Virginia. I was there all the way up until I was in college. I moved over to Richmond in Virginia, and I lived in Richmond for about 8 years. And then that's when I moved out to California. But yeah, spent most of my life in Virginia. It's like, it was a crazy culture shock pretty much when I moved out to California. It was just night and day, very different over there.
Right. Would you say now, was it when you got to California that you got down with the singing and modeling aspect of things?
No, it's always something I've loved. Like, I started singing ever since I was 4. Probably even younger than that. But like 4, I've always had dreams and aspirations of singing on a serious level. But anything like within the art industry, it's something I've always done my whole life. So arts and entertainment is just all I've done. So I've done that in Virginia. I used to be with a modeling agency, and I worked for some commercials mainly because, excuse me, a lot of yelling during my shows. So yeah, my voice is kind of gone. But yeah, I just wrestled. So yeah, basically I've been modeling and singing and doing martial arts and anything within the entertainment industry ever since I was in Virginia. And it started as young as, I would say, like actually seriously pursuing it, I would say gradually around 16 all the way through college. And unfortunately in Virginia, there's not a lot of opportunities in that type of industry. Oftentimes I ended up driving a lot because there wasn't a lot. There was like nothing in Charlottesville. And then Richmond, it was better, but there was still not enough. I'd end up having to drive to Washington, D.C., going to Maryland, Virginia Beach, drive all the way up to New York or down to Atlanta. And that's like 8 hours each way. So yeah, there's just not a lot over in the East Coast. It's mainly more commercial based. So I've modeled for and done commercials for like Hewlett Packard, for Verizon Fios when it first came out. It was like way back, you know. But coming out to California, it's so prominent here. There's just so much acting, modeling, like everything. So people get to act in films, get to do stuff like professional wrestling, which, you know, I didn't think any of that was possible for me. I just did what I love to do, but I found myself spread out so thin trying to do everything because there's only but so much that you can do. And I felt like I had to put all my eggs in different baskets and see what opportunities that's out there. Whereas now coming out here, it's very different because you have those things out here. So if I set my mind to, hey, I want to do this, I know there's the resources to do that. I don't have to wait on someone else to do something that I want. If I just work hard towards it, there's at least the resources for me to get there.
Sure. Absolutely. Now, being a martial artist myself, the fact that you're a martial artist that immediately caught my attention. So tell me, how did you get into martial arts, with the exception of in college, the judo club, but what was your earliest exposure? When did you first start your training, and what art was it?
Well, the earliest exposure, I unfortunately did not get to train. I was very young, grew up on martial arts movies, you know, typical Kung Fu, Asian, like martial arts movies. But I also really loved fighting games in particular. So I played a lot of Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, Tekken. So it had a big influence on me. And it was something that I've always wished that I could do, but I never had the confidence to do it because I grew up being an art girl. Art was my background. I was quiet. I was shy. So I didn't think that martial arts was something that would ever be possible for me. And I remember I think I was like maybe 10 or 11, I remember, maybe even younger actually, maybe 9. I remember telling my mom that I really wanted to practice martial arts, but there wasn't really much to offer in my town. All there was karate at the time. And I was too shy, you know. I remember her driving me to the local place for karate, and there was this big glass window, and everyone's there like doing their katas and like forms, and they're all making the noise like you know, like, and I remember thinking to myself, like, I could never do that. Like, I'd be so embarrassed trying to make those forms. I felt self-conscious about doing that, so I just turned around, didn't go. Years like, and also during this time, I was always interested in wrestling. I grew up watching pro wrestling with my grandma because she didn't speak any English. So pro wrestling was one of those things where like anyone from any language can understand it, right?
Sure.
So she watched that growing up, but when I was growing up, but she also watched Olympic wrestling and collegiate wrestling. So I watched all of it with her, and I didn't really know the difference between all of them. I thought they were just different leagues with their own rules. So wrestling was always something that I was interested in. And because of that in martial arts, I knew I wanted to do some type of martial arts that was more ground-based. But there was nothing at the time until I went to Richmond, Virginia for college. I moved out there very naive. I grew up in Charlottesville and later ended up moving to a county that's outside of Charlottesville called Albemarle. And that place was pretty safe. So I grew up in a pretty safe neighborhood. And then when I moved out to Richmond, I went there very naive, thinking nothing's going to happen to me. It's a big city. Like, there's so many people. Why would anyone target me out of all the, you know, hundreds and thousands of people there? So I went there with my guards down, and like the first year there, I almost came into a close situation where I could have very well gotten gang raped. And the situation scared me so much that I was like, you know, I really do need to go protect myself and take martial arts. So at the time, the guy I was dating, he was really into watching UFC, and UFC had just come out for a little while and started getting popular for a while. And well, it's been out for a little while, but I started watching it for a little while. And he was always interested in the ground portion. I remember thinking to myself, this is very much like wrestling, but you have submission. So because of that, we decided to join jiu-jitsu together, because at the time Brazilian jiu-jitsu became very popular. So, or started to become popular. It wasn't that popular yet, but it was starting to become popular. And so we joined that gym together, and I started training in that, and that's how I ended up falling into martial arts. And I got tricked into my first MMA fight. So after that, like, well, first my coach convinced me to do a jiu-jitsu tournament, and I won the tournament, and that was such a life-changing thing for me, because before that I was always the type of person that just felt like I can't do something. I felt like I didn't have the confidence to do. I felt like you were born into doing something, and it's not something that can like be achieved through hard work and just from the will and desire of wanting to do it. I'm just like, art was something that I was always kind of like good at. It was something I didn't really have to try at. I felt like it was something that was like, you know, my dad was good at art. I naturally was good at art. I won a lot of art competitions throughout my school years and stuff like that. And I just felt like this is what I'm meant to do, is just be a artist. And so I thought my life was going to end up behind a computer screen, just doing digital art and doing graphic design or something like that for the rest of my life. I never thought I'd be in front of a camera and like performing, doing performance art, which is totally different from, you know, sitting there being alone, like being an introvert, just drawing all day. So like I went into martial arts, and winning my first tournament, it was not only like such a huge accomplishment for me, but like it was something I never thought that was possible, because I didn't even do sports growing up. I hated sports. Like growing up as a kid, I was not athletic. I was not I just wasn't exposed to sports. And I never really enjoyed any sports other than watching wrestling and like martial arts and bike riding. But I wasn't really into like all the typical sports that you see in school. So finally, when that happened, it changed my whole mindset. It made me realize that whatever I want, I can achieve if I just work hard at it. And so after that, I started pursuing martial arts, and through martial arts is what led me the opportunity to WWE. And that's how I ended up going into pro wrestling after that.
Mm-hmm. In WWE, not only WWE, but you were the first Asian female superstar. So you talk about
Asian American,
thank you, Waymaker. I'm listening.
Trying to.
Right. No, not trying. You're doing it. You've been busy. Oh my gosh. I mean, just even with the WWE aspect of things and just paving the way, starting out the way that you did, I'm tripping on the fact that you were saying that you were shy, and it's like, it's a beautiful thing when you can go from being shy and introverted and not confident to, I mean, when you're participating in wrestling and in martial arts, you're out there where everybody can see you. Again, be it with the sports entertainment or being in martial arts, all eyes are on you. And in the moment of either sports entertainment or martial arts, you have to have a regard of focus and discipline to get out there and do whatever it is that you're there to do. So I commend you for being able to work through that shyness to do what you've done and continue to do. Would you say that the fact that you enjoy the wrestling, that you or love the wrestling and love the martial arts, was that the thing to really pull you out your shell? Because it's like night and day to go from being shy to being this larger than life character that you are. Tell me about that.
It was definitely a gradual thing, but that was a big factor in helping me get out of my shell in a different way. I feel like ever since I was 12 years old, that's when I realized that I had this shyness thing that ended up becoming a problem in my life, because it prevented me from a lot of opportunities. Like, I would end up meeting someone for, whether it's for work or for, romance or for friendship. I feel like my shyness held me back from achieving what I wanted to achieve. So it got to a point where I was like very fed up, and I was very like depressed and like angry at myself for not being able to be like everyone else. And it seems like everyone else can make friends just fine. Everyone else can find a significant other just fine. But for me, it's always been a struggle because I had really bad social anxiety, and I had trouble talking to people. And not to mention, like, my English, like, I didn't, even though I was born in the US, I didn't really start learning English till I was like 6. I was pretty late. Because my grandma took care of me. She didn't know any English. So, and I didn't, because I was born in the US, I didn't have the privilege to go to ESL school. That's only for foreigners. So they treated me like, okay, I should know English. But the thing is, like, my upbringing and all my surroundings, everyone's speaking Mandarin to me. So when am I ever gonna, learn English? And I'm so shy and can't talk to people. It's hard to learn English when you have no one to communicate in English. Over the years, I slowly started learning more and more. And then it was, I remember being 12 years old, trying to get over my shyness by like making friends with people. And that was like the first step. Then like trying to like go talk to my crush or something like that, or like at least not turn my crush down or ignore my crush because I was too scared to even like look his way, type of thing. It was like that. And then over the years, the other, I'll say, milestone was when I got to college. When that boyfriend that had gotten me into jiu-jitsu, when we broke up, I was angry. Like, we didn't break up very well. It was not a good breakup. So I was very angry, and I went and trained really hard. I put all my energy and like use that anger as fuel towards my training. So I went to training really hard, and through the training, I started gaining more confidence in myself. because I'm like learning and I'm getting better, because martial arts is such a great thing to really test your skill, because if you're getting beat up, you know you got stuff to work on. If you're doing well, then you know, hey, I've improved, you know. So it's very direct way of seeing whether or not you're doing better or not, because it's not really a team sport. So you can't blame your team if you didn't make a goal. If you didn't make a goal, you could be like, well, it's that person's fault. You know, there's no one to blame but myself. So that was a very realistic way of looking at everything and looking at myself and finding myself. So slowly, gradually, I'm starting to gain more confidence. And then at the same time, I also, when me and him broke up, I went out drinking, I went and party and did, you know, whatever the typical people would do when they go through a breakup. So when I went out, I ended up like, I remember dressing up as hot as I could. And I went out and ended up getting noticed by a modeling agency. So through that, I ended up gaining a little bit more confidence, but I still remember the very first day I had to go to my orientation, and the orientation was really like a giant masquerade party. So I went to this orientation for this modeling agency, and I was all alone. I didn't know anyone. And I remember thinking to myself, like, okay, I'm not going to screw up my opportunity again, because this wasn't the first time where I got an opportunity and I screwed it up. I had done that many times in my younger years. So I'm just thinking back to all my mistakes, and I'm just like, I can't let another opportunity slip by again. So I thought to myself, you know, even though I'm scared out of my mind, I need to at least try and pretend like I'm confident. So I just faked it till I made it. And I went to this thing and pretended like I was confident. And at the end of the night, I realized I ended up making some new friends. And I just thought to myself, wow, that went really well. It was not as scary as I thought. So it ended up building my confidence a little bit more. And then winning my first jiu-jitsu tournament, that built it more. And then winning my first MMA fight and second MMA fight, that built it more. And then when I got to WWE, you know, I was still scared, because it was like, I feel like every level that you get to, it was like another obstacle that you had to conquer. It doesn't make it easier than the last time, even though you've maybe conquered the other obstacles, but each obstacle is different. So you still have that doubt, and you're just like, well, I conquered this obstacle, it looked like this, but now this obstacle looks like this. Like, am I gonna make it through this one? So it was more so, you know, knowing that I just have to do it, because you only got two choices. You either just give up now, or you just do it. And if you fail, at least you tried. So it got to that point. And so even though it was not very easy going through everything in WWE, and I did have my moments, I was very shy. I did still have social anxiety. And
really? Wow.
Yeah, because it's one of those things where I feel like it's something that I have to, anxiety isn't really something that just goes away on its own. It's something that you learn to cope with. So I'll have my days. Some days I just have more anxiety than the other days, and I have to talk myself into doing a normal thing. Like, for an example, like every day at WWE NXT, there's about 100 people, 100 wrestlers, like in the performance center. And then there's all the coaches that's there. Everyone's there that like every single day during training. But when I wake up in the morning, not every day do I go in like all excited and social, like, hey, shaking everyone's hand, all excited. There's a lot of days where that's what I'm stressing about. And that's the thing with anxiety. I'll wake up and I'm just like, I remember walking into the performance center and seeing my coach. I'm thinking to myself, okay, I need to go, out of respect, I need to go say hi, shake his hand, but he's busy right now. He's talking to some other wrestler right now. I don't want to interrupt them. And I'm like, when should I go in? Okay, maybe right now. I think oh wait, they're still talking. Maybe now. And then I miss my opportunity. I'm literally there like fighting my own mind. Like, when do I go? Now? Oh wait, let me give it a few more minutes. Oh wait, oh shit, someone else came up. sorry, am I allowed to cuss on here? But someone
Yeah,
else
sure,
came
of course.
up. Sorry.
No, you're okay. You're fine.
Yeah, someone else came up and talked to them. And so I'm here like battling this like back and forth in my mind. And I know that's part of anxiety. Anxiety makes you doubt yourself, and you're constantly sitting there in your mind like, do I do this now? When do I do it? Do I do it now? Like, it's back and forth and trying to center that every single day and just tell myself, I just need to do it. Otherwise, I'm going to miss my opportunity. I just need to do it right now. Because if I don't say hi, they're going to think I'm rude. If I don't hurry up and do it, I'm going to be late to training, and there's everyone that you got to get through the whole PC performance center where you're just like, oh my gosh, it's not every day is an on day, It takes practice. And just being confident enough to know that you can get through it, that's the first step. And whether you actually get through or not, you'll cross that bridge when you get there.
Yeah, for sure.
All you do is try your best.
I love the fact that despite being shy, despite facing anxiety in the past, and despite facing anxiety even now, it's a beautiful thing, because there's so many people out there that face issues, and God bless them, but they can't get through it. For whatever reason, they can't get past it, can't get through it. Like you said earlier, they'll miss opportunities. But it's cool for you to share this, to talk about the fact that you have these insecurities, and you're working through it, because what it does, Zeta, is people that watch this say, hey, okay, I'm not the only one. Okay, she dealt with this, she deals with this. But look at her. You've traveled all over the country. Singapore, China, with anxiety and being shy, and still managing to shine. So what that is a beautiful example for others that suffer with the shyness, that suffer with the anxiety. Sometimes all people need, Zeta, is to know that it's possible, that somebody else is also dealing with it. And I love the fact that not only are you're sharing it, and you're continuing to do it. So again, the salutes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I mean, I feel like, if anything, I really know what it feels like, and it sucks. And it would suck for someone else to not be able to know how to deal with it, because I had to figure it out, because, the whole mental, all the mental stuff back then wasn't as popular. You don't get as much back then. And so I know I had a problem, until it started affecting my life. It's all I knew. I just remember always like having anxiety, but I didn't know it was anxiety at the time. I thought I was just thinking a lot. But when I finally got out of thinking that way, I felt so much more calm. And every day, it wasn't like all day long I was thinking like, oh, this person doesn't like me. Am I going to have to say hi to this person? If I don't say hi to them, they might not like me. Like that goes through my mind all day. And when that started going away, I recognized that there was peace in my mind. And I'm just like, wow, it's like silent in here. It's not like worrying about this person and that person and what's going on, what they're going to think of me, and how I'm going to feel, and all that other stuff. Like, it just suddenly was like quiet in my mind. I was like, wow, this is so nice. Like, why didn't I know of this before? And since then, I'm like, I never want to go back to that. And even though it pops up here and there, it's like, at least now I have the confidence to be like, I'm going to calm that down and shut it down and talk to myself and tell myself, hey, like, there's other things to worry about than this. Like, this isn't the worst thing. You've been through it before. You can go through it again. And even if I didn't go through it, someone else has gone through it. And the fact that someone else can do it, I can do it. I can't be that bad luck where someone else can do it and I could just never do it, right? So I want other people to know that it is possible, because once they get out of that mindset, they're going to realize how peaceful it is in their head.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. I have to ask, did your grandma get to see any of your wrestling that you did?
No, unfortunately.
Wow. I'm sorry.
She took care of me all my life until I was 12. She's really bad Alzheimer's disease. And she had to live in an old person, like a caretaking home, like an old person. So at that time, I stopped watching wrestling, and
Mm-hmm.
that's actually like that's like a whole nother story. Like I watched pro wrestling as a kid, but I didn't really
Sure.
understand what's going on because at the time I didn't even know English. So as
Right.
I'm English, like, and understanding it more and more, like
Mhm.
I'm watching wrestling, but by the time I hit like, I'd say 10, 11 years old, I started not watching it as much because she was starting to
Okay.
get sick. And then when I got 12 years old, I pretty much stopped watching it because she was
Okay.
because that was our bonding moment. We watched it
Sure.
together. So when
Of course.
she stopped watching it, it was kind of like, you know, a reminder of her and how.
Okay.
And she passed away when I was 15.
I'm
So
sorry.
unfortunately, like, she didn't get to watch it, but
Mhm.
I'm happy that I got to go and do it because
Absolutely.
watching me somewhere, you know, wherever she's at, she's watching me. And I'm sure if she was alive today, she would be happy that I got to go on WWE because she
Absolutely.
all those people and stuff like that. It was just so crazy. But she made a big influence on me, and I'm really happy that I went this route, and I'm sure she's watching over me somewhere.
She'd be very extremely, extremely proud. I mean, how cool is that to have that way of bonding with your grandmother, and then, like you said, to be who you are and to do what you do. That's a wonderful thing, Zeta. 100%. I'm still just tripping on. You're welcome. I'm still tripping on just. I mean, you've wrestled for some of everybody. You're a beast, a workhorse. You know what I mean? It's like, even what you said at the beginning of the conversation, you just, you think you said you wrestled last night, was it?
I wrestled a few days ago, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I wrestled
Okay.
for wrestling. It's Japanese style wrestling. So
and then here you are, you look good. You look like you wrestled nothing. You look like you chilling. You know what I mean? So, what's
really hard. Luckily, I had a mouthpiece. But, yeah.
what's your recovery? I mean, that's the thing. Tell me, how has your martial arts background, and even you train now, how has you being a martial artist served you in professional wrestling, in your wrestling career?
Oh, it's served a lot. So because of that, I feel like it's taught me a lot of discipline, because
Sure.
many times, like, your body is a lot more capable than your mind is. People give up because their mentality tells them, oh, it hurts, this is time to stop. But there's a lot of times where it's like, yeah, it burns, it doesn't feel good, but you're not like in pain where you just can't go on. So that has allowed me to push through a lot of things, learning that you push through things, and learning that your state of mind is so important in everything that you do. That's what helped me push through on so many levels, and the anxiety and the things that, all the doubts that I feel on that day, or whatever day where I'm feeling off. I tell myself, okay, all you have to do is push through it. You've pushed through stuff before, you pushed through stuff that's been worse. All you gotta do is try and push through it. And if it doesn't work out today, there's always another day.
Absolutely. Well, you look great. How do you feel?
Well, my body's pretty hurt, but over all those years of training, like, back then it was called tough guy training, where you didn't really understand the science behind it. You just trained as hard as you could. I mean, I admire the work ethic, because back then it was really tough, and it was very abusive to your body. Mentally, it's made me very strong, but also there's a fine line of balancing, like, exercise science and being smart with the way you train. Back then, no one was smart with the way they trained in MMA. So out of all those years of overtraining and getting injured and training while injured, my body's pretty messed up from it. But I've learned from all those years, and now all I do is preventative training. All I do is training that balances out my muscles and make sure nothing's offline, because if it's off, that's how injuries happen. So I do a lot of recovery work and a lot of preventative training and doing a lot of stuff to make sure that my body is healthy and in like good enough shape to keep going without getting injured.
Okay, definitely. What in turn? I mean, geez, what else would you like to do that you have not done in terms of how do you want to ride it out?
I want to keep doing wrestling. I definitely want to win a championship belt.
Okay.
That's definitely on the goal list.
Okay.
And of course, I want to stay in the entertainment realm. So I am acting. I'm out here in California. I have a acting agent, but there's strike going on right now, so that's been kind of tough. But I am working on projects, and I am on a few short films coming up. So the next one, there's one that's coming up very soon. We're shooting the rest of it in July, which is coming up.
Okay.
So
sure.
We call Split Open. It has to do with me being a wrestler and kind of getting a small glimpse of my life, the things, and the struggles, basically. Also, in the film, it's going to be me and a girl that's my best friend in the film, and she's also going through her struggle in her industry, which is MMA. So you're going to get a glimpse of this type of entertainment sports industry and how all the struggles that's behind it. Okay.
I mean, you can do some of everything. I mean, you've done the modeling, you are a martial artist, you are a professional wrestler, and you're using that to gravitate into change the trajectory and go into the movie making. I mean, it's like the sky's the limit. And then you spoke on being an artist earlier. I mean, then you sang. It's like, geez, so many things that you know how to do, so many things that you've done. But you said you want to concede the wrestling is the thing that the heart cries out for. So, I mean, that'll work. And you spoke again of being an artist. Did that also play a part? Was that also formative in terms of with your wrestling? Have you incorporated your creativity as an artist into yourself as a wrestler?
Yes, it definitely has.
Tell me how.
Gone into my wrestling. I designed all my own outfits.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, like there's a lot of things, and all the we have to make like vignettes and promos when we're in WWE. We had to film our own. I came up, I wrote the script, filmed it, edited it, acted it, like all that whole process I did on my own. And it's like being a pro wrestler, you also have to learn to manage yourself and know what to put out there, what content to put. And so that is art form all within itself, and having to think of the ideas and execute it. So all that is being used all the time, which is very fulfilling for me because I'm able to do a bit of everything that I enjoy within the art field.
Sure. What is a word of encouragement, that you like to offer to someone that's going through a tough time?
I would tell them that they're going to get through it, because all it takes is sticking it out. Because something that's bad that's happening, it can't be bad forever. There's ups and downs to everything in life. So when something is great, at some point, something bad might happen. But when something's bad, that means something great is going to happen. But you'll never see that if you don't ride it out. So as long as you keep a never give up mentality and you stick it through, you're going to see the light at the end of the tunnel.
100%. I meant to ask you earlier, who would you say was your favorite person that you've worked with in the industry thus far?
Oh, there's definitely been a few. I'd probably say the most current one would probably be Rhea Ripley. She's always been like just very nice. She's very helpful. She's very knowledgeable, and she's also very strong. So it's like I'm like a medium weight wrestler. I'm not the biggest girl out there, but I'm also not the smallest either. So I don't always get someone to base me and be the bigger person to lift me up. So having her be a big, strong person to be able to lift me up, it allows me to be able to try different things and do different types of moves that I normally can't do with the smaller girls that aren't as strong. So it's just kind of, it was really nice working with her. She's just a really nice person in general.
Okay. Give me a number 2 and number 3 in terms of
number
people
2 and number 3. I would say, I'm kind of biased, probably Xia Li. Xia Li is like one of my best friends in the industry.
Okay.
She's super nice.
Sure.
We live together also, and we would analyze like, oh, what should we do if we're in this position and that position? And so I feel like I really enjoyed analyzing with her and how we use logic behind everything, and to try and make it as realistic as possible, because she also came from martial arts background. So because we're both a martial arts background, we like to bring to the table something a little bit different, where if I hit someone this way, like, how would it be like realistically? Because we both went through that. We know what it feels like, and we like to bring something a little bit different to the table rather than just someone that only came up through the pro wrestling way.
Sure.
And then 3, I'd say probably 3, I'd say I really enjoyed working with this girl, Selena Del Renta. We worked together at MLW. She's just very smart. She really gets it. She gets the wrestling business. She understands what the fans want, and just being able to listen to her and like bounce off each other and pick her brain. I learned so much from her point of view, and she's young too. It's just like some people just got that gift where they think about things differently, and hearing things from her, she just got that creative mind that's great for entertainment. So she's also someone I love working with.
Okay. Well, what I wanted to do, actually, I was going to ask you, what's a word of encouragement that you wish someone had given you when you needed it, when you were going through?
To basically just trust the process and to not give up, because so many times I've given up on so many things where I feel like if I hadn't given up on those things, I'd probably be doing something else right now.
Definitely.
Gave up on a lot of other things to finally realize, hey, I need to stop giving up on stuff and just do what I enjoy.
Sure. Okay. Well, Zeta, I appreciate, again, you taking time out of your very busy schedule to have a conversation with me. I have thoroughly enjoyed learning about you, in addition to what I studied myself. So just thank you again so much. Looking forward to more and more of you shining. You're welcome. So
good talking to you.
Yes, good talking to you too. Thank you again so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Like I said, keep shining, and looking forward to seeing what else you produce.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Take care, okay?
You too. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.